Kody Brown's former partner reveals a significant revelation in the Sister Wives conflict. The Sister Wives Season 19 tell-all special subjected Kody Brown to unprecedented scrutiny. The reality star's consistent unwillingness to respond to nearly all inquiries, along with his ex-wives, Meri, Janelle, and Kody Brown, revealing his mistreatment of them, indicates that the Brown family patriarch has significant efforts ahead to achieve redemption. Regrettably, his repeated evasion of responsibility has reached a level that appears deliberate, and Janelle's latest disclosures seem to corroborate this notion. Kody's favoritism towards his youngest wife, Robyn Brown, has been a long-standing source of controversy. Nonetheless, following the complete disintegration of his extended family, his former partners are no longer hesitant to speak candidly. In the second part of the Sister Wives Season 19 tell-all, Janelle confronted Kody's vehement rejection of inquiries posed by host Suki Krishnan. Janelle asserts that Kody's conduct much exceeds his typical avoidant tendencies, and she believes it is all a facade to safeguard Robyn. Janelle, married to the reality star for almost 29 years, asserts that Kody's more erratic conduct is a deliberate tactic to divert attention from his remaining spouse. During her conversation with Suki, Janelle suggested that Kody was prepared to compromise his own reputation to safeguard Robyn. The autonomy of the Brown family patriarch's actions is, however, questionable. The former sister wife then elaborated on her opinion, stating that this is all part of Robyn's strategy to preserve her reputation as the exemplary spouse. Janelle believes that Robyn is orchestrating Kody's actions and pushing him to assume full responsibility, while diminishing her own involvement in the disintegration of their multiple family. The TLC star designated this hypothesis as the gospel according to Janelle and asserted that it represents just another of Robyn's strategies to alienate Kody from his former spouses and their offspring. Fans observed similar behavior during the COVID-19 pandemic when Robyn abruptly expressed anxiety on her quarantine regulations. Initially, Kody had a more lenient attitude towards the matter, but when observing Robyn's stringent position, he began to concur with her and declined to engage with any of his other wives at that time. Ultimately, Kody is a grown-up. Robyn may be issuing numerous requests. Nevertheless, he possesses the authority to decline, particularly as he has done with his previous spouses. Kody has consistently assumed the position of Robyn's defender. Since the inaugural season of the show, he has served as his youngest wife's gallant protector, while Robyn has consistently portrayed herself as the naive, vulnerable individual requiring his unwavering safeguarding. Kody's choice to adhere to this story, despite neglecting his elder children and prior partners, demonstrates his continual involvement in this cycle. Meri, Janelle, and Kody may find it challenging to acknowledge that their former spouse was consistently self-serving and manipulative and is currently attempting to recast the narrative to portray himself as the victim. During the tell-all, Kody attempted to assert that his past spouses departed due to their envy of Robyn, which was not the actual reason. The reality star asserts that he has consistently faced repercussions from his family for his affection towards Robyn, ultimately leading to his exhaustion with the situation. The most startling revelation was Kody's assertion that he had never loved his prior 3 wives, yet felt compelled to remain committed to them. The former sister wives have indeed criticized Kody for attempting to portray a skewed narrative of their collective history, rather than accepting responsibility for his involvement in the situation. Kody's fervent effort to protect Robyn from criticism further estranges not only his ex-wives, but even his children, who have articulated feelings of perpetual neglect. Unless the Brown family patriarch acknowledges his misjudgments and admits to his overt favoritism towards one woman over the remainder of his family, he is merely exacerbating his predicament. Nevertheless, it was a brisk autumn morning in Flagstaff, and the cold in the atmosphere seems to reflect the strain inside the Brown family. Kody sat solitary on the veranda of his rented residence, his coffee unconsumed, gaze remote. The family had been disintegrating for months, and the injuries were more profound than he had anticipated. In an uncommon instance of candor, Kody resolved to address the cameras, devoid of filters, embellishments, and presenting only the unvarnished truth. "I have erred," he continued, his tone subdued. "However, one aspect I can no longer tolerate is the disparaging remarks, from my spouses, my children, and even from individuals who presume to understand our narrative. He gazed into the trees, consolidating his thoughts. I perceive auditory phenomena, he elaborated. Christine asserts that I do not listen. Janelle claims that I have never provided her with support. Meri believes I have emotionally deserted her. Robin is compelled to defend me while also facing culpability for all consequences. However, no one is willing to discuss trust. Later that day, Kody convened a family meeting, an activity they had not engaged in for months. Notwithstanding the discomfort, all attendees were present. Robin alongside him, Janelle exhibiting a cautious demeanor, Meri appearing noticeably anxious, and Christine participating through a video connection from Utah. Kody positioned himself at the center of the living room, hands interlocked before him. I convened this meeting, he stated, because I am weary of the rumors, the conjectures, and the discussions conducted in my absence. We are meant to be a family. A family cannot endure without trust. Christine's voice pierced the silence. Do you desire trust, Kody? You damaged it years ago. You ceased to appear. Not solely in a bodily sense, but Meri gently remarked, and you ceased to have faith in us. Everyone, Janelle, perpetually composed, was the next to speak. It extends beyond mere trust. It pertains to the manner in which you discuss us as well. Your statements, both on and off camera, have conveyed a sense of failure to us. As if we are the issue. Kody exhaled audibly, raking his fingers over his hair. I am aware. I have expressed remarks in a fit of fury. I have harbored resentment. However, I was also in pain. I perceived that I was the sole advocate for this family. I experienced a sense of betrayal. Robin gazed at him with tear-filled eyes, yet remained mute. She had observed the impact this had exerted on him, and on others as well. Unexpectedly, Aurora, Robin's daughter, who had been silently observing from the stairway, interjected. Perhaps it is time for us to cease assigning blame and commence active listening. All individuals have experienced pain. All individuals have experienced anger. However, disparaging remarks just exacerbate suffering. For the first time in an extended period, there was an absence of shouting, abrupt departures, and theatrical exits. Only silence. Perhaps, although little, a minor fissure in the barrier of animosity. During a confessional later that week, Kody expressed his thoughts candidly. I am uncertain whether we can rectify all issues. Perhaps excessive harm has occurred. However, I wish to terminate the cycle. I seek to restore confidence, beginning with transparency. That is all I possess. Nonetheless, on a brisk September morning in Flagstaff, the Brown family residence was permeated by a palpable anxiety. As summer concluded and the new academic year loomed, the Browns engaged in a fervent family debate on which children should return to school and which should pursue home education. Kody convened an urgent family meeting. He stood in Robin's living room, pacing with a clipboard in hand, his gaze shifting between the columns he had established, in-person and remote learning. Robin sat close by, her arms tightly crossed, her nervousness hardly concealed. Christine arrived with Truly, who sat on the couch wearing headphones, attempting to disregard the adult turmoil. Janelle participated through a video connection from her flat, while Meri silently observed from the periphery, uncertain of her desired level of engagement. Very well, Kody commenced, his voice excessively loud for the space. We must exercise intelligence. Certain children flourished in a domestic environment. Some did not. We cannot indiscriminately return them all to school. Robin promptly interrupted. I am not yet at ease with the idea of returning Ariella or Solomon. The classrooms are congested, and disease continues to circulate. I believe they are more secure in my presence. However, Robin, Christine contended, truly requires social interaction. She experiences solitude. She is prepared to return and yearns for her companions. Isolating her is causing more harm than benefit. Kody nodded deliberately, stroking his beard. Truly may be a suitable candidate for an in-person meeting. She is autonomous and prudent. Janelle's voice resonated from the speaker. Savannah desires to return as well. She is fatigued by Zoom classes, and I share her sentiment. I advocate for her freedom. Will we establish a precedent? Robin became upset. What if a child becomes ill and transmits it to the entire family? Meri ultimately expressed her thoughts. We cannot protect them indefinitely, Robin. Eventually, we must permit them to exist. Kody exhaled audibly. Very well, let us attempt this. We cast votes for each youngster. Robin insisted on remote for Solomon and Ariella. Kody exhibited reluctance but ultimately acquiesced. Christine expressed her disdain by rolling her eyes. Certainly. The genuine dispute commenced at the arrival of Brianna and Aurora, both teenagers with distinct viewpoints. I wish to return, Aurora stated softly from the corridor. All individuals redirected their attention. You will not return, Robin stated curtly. We have discussed this matter. I am no longer a child, Aurora declared, advancing. I am fatigued from remaining at home all day. I desire to complete my senior year as a typical adolescent. Robin's voice faltered. I am merely attempting to safeguard you. I am endeavoring to develop, Aurora responded gently. The silence was palpable, dense and unsettling. Kody glanced back and forth between them. Perhaps Aurora could return on a provisional basis. Robin's eyes expanded in astonishment. Kody. He raised a hand. She is no longer a child. We must also consider her desires. Aurora offered a subtle smile. It was not a triumph, but it constituted progress. At the conclusion of the conference, 50% of the children would return to school, while the remaining 50% would stay at home. It was not flawless, but nothing in the Brown family ever was. As the adults departed, Truly glanced up from her tablet. Does this imply that I can finally utilize my locker again? Christine beamed. Affirmative, dear. You are returning. Kody reclined on his chair, fatigued. Another familial dispute resolved, albeit briefly. He knew that this would not be the final conflict on parenting decisions. In the Brown household, decision-making was perpetually challenging. Nevertheless, they continued to progress. Nonetheless, on a brisk autumn morning in Flagstaff, Christine got a message that caused her heart to race. The message came from Annalise, a former acquaintance from her early involvement in the fundamentalist Mormon society. They had not communicated in years, since the repercussions that ensued after Kody's marriage to Robin. Annalise was formerly intimate with the Brown family, having been briefly pursued by Kody, but their relationship deteriorated, leading to her disappearance from their life. She was now requesting to meet for coffee. Christine reclined on the veranda of her new residence, sipping tea and gazing at the mountains. She had progressed. She was betrothed to David, ultimately experiencing life according to her own preferences. However, a portion of her remained tormented by past traumas. The treachery, the deceit, the camaraderies that transformed into antagonisms. Concurrently, Meri was confronting her own specters. Joe, her high school paramour and the inaugural man she loved prior to Kody, had re-emerged on social media. He had never entered into matrimony, possessed no offspring, and lately relocated to Arizona for employment. He messaged Meri nonchalantly, yet his words were imbued with nostalgia. Have you ever contemplated how circumstances could have diverged? He wrote. Meri did not respond for 3 days. However, when she ultimately conveyed her message, it was succinct, all the time. Janelle, in the meantime, found herself ensnared in her own predicament. Carly, her former best friend and a member of a polygamist household, authored a book revealing the sinister aspects of plural marriage. It alluded to the Brown family through subtly concealed narratives that only those intimately acquainted with them would discern. The book had generated significant controversy in their society. Carly has returned, seeking an interview for her latest documentary. She asserted it pertained to healing and veracity. However, Janelle lacked trust in her. Kody cautioned me, Janelle remarked to Christine one evening during supper. He stated that she consistently possessed an ulterior motive. Christine expressed her disdain by rolling her eyes. Kody perceives threats omnipresently. Perhaps it is time for you to cease listening to him. Robin was experiencing an atypical battle. Matt, her former spouse and father of her older children, reached out to their daughter, Aurora, to request a meeting. Robin was incensed. Matt had been away for years and now suddenly sought to assume the role of a father. Kody, unexpectedly, exhibited a composed reaction. Allow Aurora to make the decision. She is nearly an adult. Robin retorted. She is our daughter. He no longer merits a place in her life, simply due of her maturation. Aurora eavesdropped on the dispute and thereafter informed Robin, I shall meet him. However, it does not imply that I absolve him. Weeks later, Christine encountered Annalise at a quaint cafe situated behind a bookshop. She appeared older, yet retained the same piercing gaze. I am not here to instigate conflict, Annalise stated immediately. I wish to express my apologies. Christine elevated an eyebrow. Apologies for what? Departing? Or in an attempt to become Kody's fifth spouse? Annalise grimaced. Both. I was youthful. I believed that polygamy would provide me with a family. I did not comprehend the anguish it inflicted till I observed it transpire to all of you. They remained silent for a little period. Christine then stated, I am content now. Committed. Complimentary. I have heard, Annalise remarked with a smile. You are worthy of it. For the first time in an extended period, Christine experienced closure. Meri met Joe for lunch upon returning home. He presented her with yellow flowers, her preferred choice, even after all these years. They chuckled. They conversed. They wept little. A warmth and familiarity existed between them. However, Meri also recognized a significant insight that day. She expressed to him, I do not regret loving you. However, I have acquired the ability to appreciate myself now. That is of greater significance. Joe acquiesced. Nevertheless, I take pride in the woman you have become. As the weeks progressed, the Brown family experienced instability once more. Former acquaintances re-emerged. Ex-lovers pursued atonement. Confidences were revealed. Nevertheless, each woman, regardless of her continued association with Kody, commenced the process of healing. Occasionally, it is not solely the marriage that delineates your existence. It encompasses those who departed, those who reappeared, and those who assisted you in your self-discovery along the way. Nonetheless, following years of emotional detachment, frigid silences, and miscommunication, an unforeseen sentiment began to emerge between Kody and Meri Brown, hope. The initiation occurred by a straightforward telephone call. Meri was in Utah at her bed and breakfast, Lizzie's Heritage Inn, when she received an unanticipated call from Kody. Greetings, Meri, he spoke with a tentative inflection. I was inquiring whether you would like to have dinner next week upon your return to Flagstaff? Only the two of us? Meri's heart raced. Years had elapsed since Kody had communicated in this manner. For an extended period, they existed more as courteous acquaintances than as a married couple. The scars from previous betrayals, misunderstandings, and emotional detachment had formed a divide that appeared insurmountable. However, a transformation had occurred within Kody. The disintegration of his previous relationships, especially with Christine, and the increasing estrangement from Janelle, compelled him to contemplate his shortcomings. Robin, although remaining at his side, had been urging him to repair the fractured relationships, particularly with Meri, who had remained steadfast despite the circumstances. The dinner commenced with an atmosphere of discomfort. They positioned themselves opposite one another in a tranquil eatery in downtown Flagstaff. Meri donned a delicate green blouse, her gaze cautious yet inquisitive. Kody appeared more aged, fatigued, yet genuine. I am uncertain of how to commence, he stated following an extended pause. However, I am aware that I have committed numerous errors in my dealings with you. Meri averted her gaze, nervously manipulating her serviette. We both have, she stated softly. However, I have consistently desired for us to attempt once more. You simply did not wish to hear it. Kody acquiesced. I am aware. I wished to avoid confronting the agony. I believed that progressing entailed expelling you. However, I now comprehend. I forsook you. During that night, they conversed for 3 hours regarding their past, their regrets, and the potential nature of forgiveness. In the subsequent weeks, a novel dynamic began to develop between them. Kody starting visiting Meri with increased frequency. Occasionally, they conversed on her porch, sipping tea while observing the Arizona sunset. At other occasions, they engaged in hiking or viewed vintage family films. Meri began to chuckle more frequently. Kody increased his listening frequency. The remaining spouses and offspring were astonished. Janelle arched her eyebrow during a family conversation and inquired, "Wait, you and Meri are conversing again? Are you referring to an actual conversation?" Even Robin, who previously occupied a complex position in Meri's affections, was encouraging. "If you can reconstruct your relationship with Meri," she said Kody one evening, "perhaps you can initiate the healing of the entire family." Nevertheless, not everyone were persuaded. Christine, observing from a distance alongside David, said, "Exercise caution. Do not inflict harm upon her again. She merits superior treatment." Notwithstanding the skepticism, Meri maintained a cautious optimism. One afternoon, while strolling by the stream behind her inn, Kody grasped Meri's hand. "I am uncertain about the future," he stated, "but I am resolute in my desire to no longer close the door on our relationship." Tears accumulated in Meri's eyes. "I desire candor. Additionally, exertion. I do not require you to be flawless, Kody. I desire recognition." He gazed at her and responded, "Then let us endeavor, genuinely this time." Weeks evolved into months, and although it lacked the characteristics of a fairy tale romance, it represented a genuine endeavor. Therapeutic sessions, profound discussions, gradual trust cultivation, and a shared journey to Nauvoo for spiritual reconnection. Viewers of Sister Wives were astonished by what appeared to be a miraculous development. Meri and Kody, formerly irreparably fractured, were gradually rekindling their relationship and potentially even love. This may not signify the conclusion of their narrative. Rather, it could represent the inception of an entirely new chapter. Greetings, esteemed viewers. Welcome to my channel. I am Sabrina. I hope your day is going well. If you liked the video, please remember to subscribe to the channel.